Now, it's been a while since I made a video. Well, I hope it won't make it less valuable to you. But what I want to talk about is how to become articulate. Now, being articulate is something that I struggled through really for long. And even though I wouldn't consider myself as a person who would be able to explain myself perfectly in everything, there's a really important thing that I learned 1 week ago. And that is, being articulate really depends on the way you tend to study things. Now, what do I mean by that? So, let's say you really educate yourself about a topic. You know a lot about it and you can talk a lot about it, but because you researched so much around it and you thought it through so much, when a friend may ask you for opinion, you wouldn't be able to explain or articulate yourself, because you haven't thought through an answer that you want to give the person. So to make it more simple, essentially when you say you want to become more articulate, you just want to know the answer ahead when a person will ask you a question. And you want to answer the question in the most best way that you can answer it. And the way you do it is actually really simple. Before the other person tends to come to ask the question, you already want to have asked the question to yourself. And this is where learning comes in so much into the play of it, is that the way we tend to learn things will affect the way we tend to think about them. And so asking questions is such a crucial part of learning. Now you probably may always know the quote, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. But what it also tells us that if you haven't doubted the thing that you learned, and you haven't asked the questions, you don't really properly understand it. Sure, you may get the idea, but in order to learn, we have to understand how everything connects with each other. So instead of thinking in the way where we have this concept and we try to absorb it as much as we can, now I want you to reconsider to actually work with the concept, which is more considered to be active learning. Instead of taking in the information that you're learning as a simple thing that you tend to remember, ask yourself why it is true. Ask yourself how it is working. And it's almost like you're splitting yourself into two persons. On the one hand, you're the person that's learning the concept, that's trying to understand it and presenting the viewpoint. But also try to imagine another audience that is speaking to you and asking you questions. Well, how is it true? Can you explain it in simple words? What would be the way you would present it so other people would be able to understand it? And this is a kind of dialogue that we can use in order to make ourselves to understand the concept better. We understand things through their context. If we know how to relate the concept and if we know to explain it with our own words, we not only will learn it better, but we actually will come to understand why the things work out the way they work. So, to make this short and to sum it up by it's working day, it's working, and you can articulate your point, is that usually you just took up the information without thinking it's true. And if you haven't thought it through, why it's true and why it's not true, and you haven't doubted it, you wouldn't be able to deal with other people's thoughts. Because how could you if you haven't thought about it? And so, yeah, no wonder it's take a lot more time to articulate yourself, because you haven't thought through the concept and you have now to reconsider everything that you learned so you can give a proper answer. And this is how you actually can come to be more articulate. You study the concept, but you also tend to learn to explain the concept and the thing that you learn in your own words. Afterwards, you will challenge the concept and by asking questions. The more questions you learn to answer to yourself properly, the better you will be able to respond to the questions of other people. And this is how you become articulate. By continually enhancing your response to everything. Thanks for watching.